Good.
Didn't get many specifics on how or what. Like, I didn't if it's going to be video, just audio, stuff like that. So maybe.
We're a live video. Can you do it like this? Are you comfortable?
Yeah, no, I'm comfortable just making sure that I have the right background, and nothing showing that shouldn't be showing. No.
No, let's party.
Yeah. So let
Eh,
me see if I can get you a little bit bigger somehow. I don't know.
Your connection's great. If you could turn the phone sideways, that'd be great. If not, no problem. I know it could be a lot to hold it like that.
There we go. Okay.
Yeah. And if you need to move or anything, it's my show. It's a chill show. It's the
Yeah.
best show. You just rock and roll and do you and have fun.
Yeah, maybe. All right, let's do this. Let me get some coffee. Let's run outside because it's nice outside. So all the fires are gone and everything, so we're good.
Ryan, where are you at right now?
I live in Southern California. So down towards San Diego area.
Okay, cool. I'm in Santa Cruz.
Okay, yeah, Santa Cruz is beautiful. Yeah, I live just outside Temecula, in a place called Awonga. So I live on 30 acres off grid, and live out here solo. Not a friend, not a mate, not a dog, not a cat. Completely solo.
Yeah, you're doing it. You're
Yeah.
doing
So,
it.
welcome to yourself.
And we are pretty much the same age. I'm born 1972, March of 72, and you're born in April of 73.
Yep. Yep.
And if I may, we're two guys who've really lived a good real life, lots of stuff. You have been in the two-wheeled motorized sports, committed for 40 years. You have kids. You've traveled the world. You've been at the top of your game. You've been married, and now you're doing something that's kind of a dream for, I guess, for a lot of human beings, living off the grid, and getting just really deep diving into yourself.
Yeah. Well, for me, I've never really had like a plan in life or a goal in life. I've always just done the things that make me tick, things that I love to do. So, I was younger, soccer, football. Oh my God, I'm going to be a professional. This, and I found motocross, and instantly, just I was great at it. And so I
How
made a
old were
really
you?
good.
How old were
Uh,
you, Ryan, when you found it?
I started when I was 11.
11.
So I wanted to I played soccer, football, and I just have the mentality if I do something, even when I was younger, that I'm going to be the best at it. So I played soccer. I want to be the best. Found football. Oh, I can hit people and not get in trouble. So I like this. So I want to be a professional football player. And then I always rode motorcycles, but just rode them. And then my brother raced, and they wanted me to go race, and I never wanted to. I was too scared. They finally got me to race. I won my first 6 races, and turned pro in like 3 years. So it went really fast, and then so I was able to build a career, build a life, being top motocrosser and going around the world and being able to experience. People and destinations and experiences that from highs to lows that people would never, um, you know, be able to imagine, of like winning some of the biggest races on earth, but also laying on the ground being completely paralyzed from neck down. And
More than once.
yeah, 4 times. So
Yeah.
so with that, just kind of you go through life, and then you got married and with my ex at 21. So I had a 24-year marriage with her. My son will be 26 this year. My daughter will be 22. And so kind of did that whole thing. But then, life wants change. Life wants something different. And so we decided to put like a little bit of a bomb in my life. And then divorce happened, sell the house, lose the money. You know what I mean? Then it's like, okay, here comes the real test. And
Mhm.
so I kind of found myself out here on this property. Not knowing why, but now I know exactly why, and it's healed me from a lot of situations, from like divorce, letting family go, and also, you know, uh, pretty much being paralyzed 4 times in the last 10 years.
I just realized I was trying to figure out how you popped on my radar, and I just saw it. This guy in the comments, Jedediah Snelson. He's a CrossFit Games athlete, and
Oh yeah, yeah,
he's been
yeah.
on
Right.
this. Yeah, he's been on the show before, so he's the one who introduced me to you through the
Yeah, that's
the
right. That's right.
internet.
That's right. Yeah, that's I'm trying to figure out the connection also. And yeah, so we myself and Jedediah, we did some work together. He was working for another rider that I was coaching, and you know, we saw eye to eye. And then unfortunately, he had a little accident in motocross. But you know, the mentality and the work ethic and the, you know, the heart that that guy has that I see, you know, on Instagram is pretty it's pretty amazing. The guy doesn't stop, you know, so it's cool.
Yeah, great headspace too. Good dude.
Yeah.
I have him help me host a couple shows, and just a bro can just hang, can just roll.
Yep. Yeah.
Hey, can you said you started riding at 11. Can you tell me the first time? Is that the first time you were ever on a motorcycle? And could you go back even further and tell me when you learned how to ride a bike? If you remember the first time you were on a two-wheeled vehicle?
Yeah, I can't remember like the first time, but I started riding probably motorcycles when I was 4 or 5 years old.
How
Just
does
because
that happen? Like
well,
most people would be like, no, my parents won't let me get close to motorcycle. But at 4, you were introduced to this.
well, my dad rode in the desert, and my dad
Mhm.
rode a little bit just for fun, you know, just because again back in the 70s, you could ride anywhere. You know, I
Yeah,
mean, nowadays and then is two different worlds. So you could ride down the street, whatever. So motorcycles are rampant. So we had motorcycles and three wheelers, and we'd go to the desert all the time. But so I just did it for fun. But then my brother raced when I was younger, and I didn't race. Then he had to quit because my dad had to work a lot. He used to work at a power plant, and then he started racing again, and that's when they wanted me to come out and try it. And I remember the day before the race, I was sitting in the truck just crying, "No, Dad, no, I don't
mm,
want to." I was so scared. And then they got me out there, and I fell over, and a big guy on a bigger bike, stopped and kind of helped me up. And I was like, "Oh wow, these guys are nice." And that was just like the click for me, you know, because I was a very shy kid for some reason. You would never think of it, but very shy kid. But once I felt comfortable, then you saw, you know, myself shine. And again, I'd won my first 6 races, and then I went from starting racing in 1984 to finishing fifth in one of the biggest races in the world in 6 years. You know,
yeah,
and so it was a
crazy.
very very quick transition. But again, some people are born with that mentality of once they have something in their mind that they're they're unstoppable. Even if they don't become the best or anything, they get to that destination, you know? And I have that ability to put something in my mind and just tune everything in this world completely out until I get there. And with something that challenged you and brought you that thrill like motocross, it was hard not to be so just obsessed with it, you know?
D do you have a second passion? Is there anything else that's even come close to motocross in your life, to riding bikes?
Uh, no, and I guess
Okay, besides that,
in quick, yes,
besides that.
quick
I
moments
understand.
of the day.
Yeah, besides that.
No,
That's
no,
healthy though, that's healthy, that's good.
yeah. So I guess to explain it is when I got with my ex, you know, my ex-wife. When we were younger, we're sitting in the garage, and we are talking about going out in this, and I said, "Hey, you see that motorcycle in the corner?
Mm.
You know, that's my bike, my practice bike." And she's like, "Yeah." I go, "That's my first love." I go, "Nothing comes before that." I go, "If you can understand that, then we can start dating. If you can't, then we're done, because I just nothing will interrupt that." So I've gone through 24 years of marriage, kids, this, that. And after 40 years of being involved in the sport, I still have a lot of love for it. Right. So that's a blessing. Right? That's an absolute blessing to be able to have something you've been into for so long and still have, you know, a passion for it.
Is there anything about racing that's a performance?
Um, yeah, it's a dance. It's a dance, you know, when you
With the
watch,
other guys or with yourself?
it's a dance with the bike and the track. And
Okay.
so when you're able to, because I do a lot of coaching now, I do a lot of coaching and teaching and things like that, and kind of lead the sport with technique and positioning. And so I coach a lot of different levels of riders. And so when I coach the guys that don't have skill, it's like they're reacting. So the bike does something, then they react to it. right? So they're always behind it a little bit, behind it a little bit. You get someone really, really good, well, they initiate everything. So their body's moving before the bike is, or if the bike moves, they're moving in a direction because they know what's going to happen. So it turns more into a dance. A dancer is never reacting to anything. A dancer is always initiating his next move, his next flair performance. And so the same thing with athletes is that you should never be in reaction mode because that is defensive and something's already happened. You need to be in initiation mode because that's instinct, intuition, where you don't have to think about it, right? Then that softness comes out, that trust comes out, that that dance, and you see it in Kobe, you see it in you see it in soccer players, Michael Jordan, whatever it is, that level. There's that dance, and that's what I see.
There's this famous fighter named Israel Adesanya. He's in the UFC now, and he was saying that the reason why he thought Jordan was better than LeBron was because of the emotional attachment the audience had to him, and that I'm paraphrasing what he's saying, of course, the emotional attachment the audience had with him because of his performance. And as a fighter, he wanted to be the same way. Like if there was ever a question, if it was a tie, he wanted the audience to be on his side emotionally because of his performance. Driving's kind of like that, Ryan. I drive.
Yep.
But a lot of people don't drive. They're just out there and they do everything segmented. For me, it's just between point A and point B, it's all one movement. There's not right turn, left turn, stop, start. It's all, even how I'm braking, slowing down. I'm just constantly, I'm driving.
Yeah.
I'm like the car.
Yeah. And that's,
there's people who don't do that.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, it's just like motocross. So I explain, I go, look, driving a car and riding motocross, the mind can't keep up with how fast it's happening. So if you're trying to keep up with how fast driving a car, riding a motorcycle is happening, you're always going to be behind it because you can never think of right now. Impossible. It only can think of future and past and surroundings. So if you're thinking about anything, it's always going to be away from what's happening right now. And so if my mind is wandering while I'm driving or riding, well, then I only can hope that my line is where it should be and I'm set up for that next section. And if there's any hope in me, well, then there's fear, and there's hesitation, right? But if I learn how to feel the drive, feel my seat, feel my tires, feel my wheels, feel my whatever, well, you only can feel right now. You can't feel future, past, or surroundings. And so if I can feel what's happening right now, well, then I can trust that I'm in this line set up for this next section. And if you have trust in you, you relax. If you relax, you flow, right? So everything that we do at that level has to become a feel. It cannot be a thought. But we also bring thought into it because what are you doing? You're identifying where you want to be so you can set up where you should be down the next corner. But then your focus goes right back into where you're at right now. Does that make sense?
Oh,
like
100%.
If I'm coming into a corner, I'm focused on, okay, I need to hit this line because I need to square this up and then swing this wide in 2 more corners. Got that. But then my focus goes right into making sure I hit that point. So the rest of it, kind of plays out together. So
the audience, Sevi, you drive a minivan. Dude, you drive a minivan. I know. I'm in the arts of minivan driving. He's in the motorcycle arts. I'm in the arts of.
I drive a small little Toyota. But dude, nobody can keep up with me in that thing, boy.
Do you drive an automatic or a stick?
I drive an automatic. I gotta have my friend. I got my hand free for the lady,
Of course, yes. Do you downshift if you're getting off a freeway exit? Do you and you drive an automatic? Do you downshift?
No. I just hit the brakes. It depends on what exit I'm coming off of.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
If my exit coming off mine onto there, I'm pretty much all sideways, passing everybody on the outside, third lane.
Wow. All right. Because I drive I used to drive a I probably shouldn't say this out loud either. I used to drive a 77 Volkswagen Rabbit that was a stick.
Yeah.
And then I had a Toyota pickup truck that was a stick. And so now my minivan, my Toyota minivan, I downshift. I drive the manual like it's a stick.
Oh, you put it over in the left or whatever, so you use the shifter?
Yeah, especially like anytime I'm getting off the freeway. Like, and I'm merging with the traffic. I like to keep it nice and tight.
Yeah, I get in there. Yeah, I always have to pass that last person for some reason. The racer comes out me everywhere. So
Yeah,
so I
that's
can't
interesting.
I can't race anymore and do all that and wild stuff because of the injuries that I've had. So I bought a F1 simulator. So I have a simulator in my place with the wheel and the 48-inch screen, and oh yeah, it's amazing.
Do you like it?
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Do you wear like the Oculus glasses? That thing, the
No, just this has, the wheel. I mean, just the wheel alone is $2,500. So it's the real deal. And but I haven't got haven't done the virtual one. I hear sometimes it screws with you, I guess. And I don't want to get too addicted to it, damn it.
I understand.
Yeah.
Ryan, there was this line you said in an interview that really I had never heard this before, and this made so much sense. You said, and I think I got it close. You didn't want to be a champion; you wanted to go fast, and that desire to go fast and mastering your art is what turned you into a warrior. And then once you turn into a warrior, your natural instinct is then to go out and get it, which is a synonym for compete.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I thought, wow, that's fascinating because so many kids miss that part because they already want to be Michael Jordan or they want to be something. And it seems like you didn't want to do that. You just wanted to go fast. And then without even knowing it, you transformed into this high level racer. And once you started, like, I guess, feeling like eminently competent around that skill, you wanted to test it against other humans.
Yeah. I guess the thing is, it's like, yeah, I've never really wanted to be anybody. I guess I became somebody, but never want to be anybody. I never looked up into anybody and was like wanted to emulate them or be anything like anybody. That's the thing is I'm 100% happy, confident, and secure with who I am. There's nobody on earth that I wish I could be like, and that's not an egotistical thing. It's just I've been tested and tried and and tuned myself into who I want to be, even though that means I have had to push a lot of shit out of the way, or not have some things that maybe I should. Um, so with that, having that mentality that just it starts coming out everywhere, right? And so that warrior mentality of just going, like I said before, once I have something in my mind, there's no way that anything's going to get there until I get to that destination. And so having that just, again, unfortunately, it comes out everywhere. Sometimes it comes out in relationship, and it comes out in life, just trying to have fulfillment. Right? You start chasing and chasing and chasing and chasing and chasing because that's how you got your fulfillment, is by accomplishment, you know, in racing. And so when that racing's gone is when that real struggle, I feel, happens for a lot of us athletes, is because we're so used to chasing something to get what we want. But the only thing that you can chase in life after, competition sometimes is the negative of life, right? Because that's giving you a little quick fulfillment. And so that's where I feel a lot of it can help you when you're trying to achieve a goal and become something and compete. But when you're done with it, then it can almost be the worst thing that you've ever brought onto yourself, because you're never gonna be satisfied. There's always unfulfillment. There's always more. There's always next. There's always what if, maybe.
Do you still ride any two-wheel vehicles?
Nah, I mean, I ride every once in a while just to scratch an itch, and like I say, the last 2 years I broke my neck twice, and to be able to walk away from the things that I've experienced is I don't have an answer for. I really don't, and so I have to respect that, honor that, and and yeah, and yeah, yeah, it's
You,
fun.
you,
I
you
love it.
described
Fun. I
you
love
just
it.
you described one of your breaks as being decapitated.
So yeah, so again, I broke my back in 2013 in a crash, and I mean, the stories that I have, if I don't know how long you guys want to talk, but anyways, so
I'll hear him. I'm game. I'm game. Everyone
okay,
likes a good
so the
crash story.
2013, I was coaching these riders, and we're working on a section. I said, okay, and I always would demonstrate. We want to do it like this. We want to do it like this. And I was going through this section, and again, at this time in my life, there was transition. I was coming off of being this really, really competitive, high world class racer, and now retiring and going through the okay, who am I now? And the only time that I would have satisfaction if I went out there and went fast on a motorcycle and proved how good I was. You know what I mean? So it's kind of just this, it's ending a persona and finding out that you have a big ego. I guess this turning point in men around like 40ish. And so I'm just kind of just explaining where I'm at in my life.
Sure.
And so I went through the section and the bike went a little bit sideways. And at that speed, as you know, racing cars, driving cars, you don't have time to make decisions. It comes from instinct, right? But time stopped. It fucking stopped. It stopped. And it gave me a decision to turn the gas off or turn the gas on. And the section wasn't too bad, and it's my mentality. And so right when I made the decision to gas it, it felt like something just threw me off my bike, pulled me off my motorcycle. I went headfirst into a jump, and all of a sudden, boom! I was paralyzed from neck down.
Hold
Rolled,
Ryan, hold on just a second. So a jump is like basically you hit a wall. When you say you
yeah,
went
pretty
head
much.
first into jump, instead of going up it, you just drove into a wall.
Yeah, I drove into the wall. I tucked my head, and I hit the
Okay.
wall. Boom!
Okay. Thank you. Okay.
The face of the jump, and then I rolled down it, paralyzed from the neck down. And just looking at my arms and my legs, just screaming at the top of my lungs, like, "Oh my God, it finally happened! Oh my God, oh my God!" Because every racer, that's their worst nightmare, their worst fear. And so I laid there for I don't know how long, because again, shock and all these different things. And then finally, excuse me, the little bit of feeling started coming back through my toes and up through my body, and I started kind of getting feeling back, and then it all started coming back, and I'm like, okay, okay, okay. They loaded me up, went to the hospital. They found out that I broke T2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Oh my goodness.
They're all broken. 4 was gone. They don't know how I was really even walking. Later in the time, I went paralyzed from chest down. A hematoma grew on my spinal column, and I went paralyzed for like 10 hours in the hospital from chest down before they rushed me into the emergency room to take off the hematoma. You know.
What did they do? They just drained it. It's just it was a blood.
Well, they sliced me open and took out the hematoma, and then all of a sudden I started getting feeling back in my movement back in my legs.
That one wasn't from an accident. That one was just from the hematoma.
That was the same thing. So I went
Oh,
paralyzed, got back, and then when I was in the hospital, I went paralyzed again.
wow.
And then they put 2 rods, 11 screws in me, fused me from 2 to 7, and then I was out of the hospital in a week. And never went to PT, never went to physio. I asked them, how do I heal? And they said, well, the best thing you can do is walk. I walked 100 miles the first month.
Wow.
I won my first mountain bike race 3 months later, and healed myself. And so, long story short, 3 years later, 4 years later, I was walking through the track, and I saw one of my friends that is that I've known for a long time, and we haven't seen each other in a while. And he's like, "Hey, man, good to see you." He goes, "You know what? I haven't seen you since that crash when you broke your back." And I was like, "Yeah, it was pretty gnarly." And he goes, "That was probably one of the scariest things I've ever seen in my life." He goes, "I was 100 feet away from the jump, and I felt the ground shake when you hit the ground." He goes, "You know what?" He goes, "I hate to say it, but he goes, I just walked away." He goes, "I just fucking walked away." And I go, "I know it was gnarly." And he goes, "But," he goes, "the weird thing," he goes, "it looked like something pulled you off your motorcycle." The hair on my arms just stood up, because again, I have this idea,
Mm.
this feeling, this thought, this memory of this happening, but there's no way that I could ever can prove it. When someone 4 years later from the outside says it looked like something pulled you off your motorcycle,
Yeah.
it was a point in my life that I could close a book on questioning the direction in my life, or what happened in my life, or who I am. You know what I mean?
You have an explanation for it? You think it's like
It was a turning point. It had to happen, or I probably killed myself, or just I was just going the wrong direction in life. Not by not by doing anything negative, just mindset, direction, who I thought I needed to be instead of who I should become, right? Because we get stuck in this persona, this rhino, this I need to always prove, I always need to be the best, I always need to be the fittest, I always need to conquer, because that's where everybody, you know, sings me praise.
mm,
And it's so easy for me to do that because only thing I got to do is try. But that is there's a point where that's never going to grow, that man. And so if you don't have these changes, if you don't have these kind of forks in the roads, then you're never going to grow as a man or progress. And so that was a blessing in my life to be able to, I guess, kind of experience that.
there's this guy running for office for the president, Indian cat named Vivek Ramaswamy, and I heard him talking about wanting to put a limit on how long people can be in office. And his explanation is that the nature of man is that we go through self-serving, or like serving ourselves, and then service of others, and we go through these waves of it. And that when
Yeah.
you have someone who's in office, for 40 years, that's where the corruption sinks in, because you may be in a giving phase and then you may turn into a self-serving phase, right? So
Yep.
you think you're going to go there and like and help like your community, but next thing you know, you're swinging a deal and taking some money on the side from some guy who's a construction worker, right? Who wants to build homes and you're pushing through his shit for an extra 50 grand in your pocket.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of sounds like that's when I hear you talk about your life, even here, but in all the stuff that I was watching prior to you coming on, you have those two phases at pretty far extremes. You have the part of you that's like you can be of real service, and then there's times when you are like really serving you, like you're working on yourself.
Yeah.
Does that resonate with you? I had never heard anyone say it like that, the way this Vivek guy had said it, but I really liked it.
No, that makes complete sense, because after a while, let's say being in office and you're doing this, and after a sudden you're like, okay, hey, where am I going to get something out of this? And then it's easy to be corrupt, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
same thing as I served myself, and that's what every man does in the beginning, is serve themselves to be a CEO, to be important, make money, accomplished, whatever it is. You have to be self-centered, greedy, selfish to be the best. Impossible not to be. But once that's done, well, then you have to be able to, take off that costume and see what's underneath it, because now here comes your true colors. Here comes your true nature, right? And so for me, I feel like this big giving phase, this big serving phase in my life has come from being humbled so deeply. I've had to just give up. I've had to just say I quit. I'm done. I don't know. Just 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 take me, whatever the hell it is, from the places I've been in, from breaking my neck 2 times in a year, right? So that one time was when I was up in Washington. The bike flipped up, landed on my head, and internally decapitated me. And so my whole left side of my body went paralyzed.
Internally decapitated you, meaning your head was just attached to your body, like being held on by the skin.
Well, my neck, I had it, my spine was dislocated. My neck was dislocated. So that means it's like pretty much gone. It's pretty much dislocated. It just was hanging on there. So when they came in the room, they said, "Mr. Hughes, do not move a muscle. Do not wiggle. We don't know how you're almost even alive." He goes, "We can fix this, but you're so, And then I'm up there by myself in the COVID phase, and nobody's allowed to visit me, and just completely solo, completely solo. I mean, that was so gnarly to be in that position. So they put the plate in there. They put 6 screws in there. Everything was solid there, but I still didn't have feeling in my left side of my body. My leg came back, but my left arm was completely dead. And then I'm up there by myself, and then crazy me. I said, "Well, I'm good, right?" And they're like, "Well, yeah, you're good. You're solid, and you could get back into what you're doing probably in about 3 months." And I said, "Okay, so like I can go home?" And like, "Well, we wouldn't suggest it, but if you can handle the pain and you're the age you are, you can check yourself out. I said, okay. So I had an Uber meet me at the bottom of the hospital the next day, made a flight home. They Ubered me to the airport, had a wheelchair waiting for me, put me on the plane. I flew home the next day with after surgery with a broken neck. But then when I landed at home, when I landed in San Diego, I just cried like you've never seen anybody cry. You know, so being so tough, that warrior had to come out in that time, right? That complete warrior had to come out. But once I landed, then this compassionate, you know, forgiving side of myself came out.
Did that feel good?
It always feels good to cry. It
Yeah.
always feels good to cry. Yeah, I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid to cry. I cry. I cry.
It can be exhausting.
What, crying? Or
Yeah.
holding it all in?
Well, both. But I noticed when I'm older now, when I was young, I feel like I could cry for fucking ever.
Yeah.
But now when I cry, it's like, I need a nap. Like that shit fucking works me.
Yeah. Well, maybe that because there's so much inside.
Right.
You know? And so this is what I'm noticing a lot is that I have so much time to give to people right now because it's like life again. A year later, almost on the same weekend, I was riding my street bike through a parking lot and someone pulled in front of me, clipped my bike, flipped in the air, and I woke up in the middle of the street, paralyzed from neck down.
A year after that?
Oh, yes, almost on the same damn weekend. And so paralyzed neck down again, and from neck down, broke my neck, shattered my heel, all that, and so I had to heal from that. And and I did all these things without going to PT. Never went to physio. Did everything on my own out here on my property. So that's why this has turned into be such a blessing, because it's healed me from all these situations. And now being completely alone, I'm faced with myself. So now I don't have so much stress, anxiety, fear, worry, all these things that people have being inside society. So my cup being empty with I guess my internal bullshit, I have so much more room to be able to accept someone else's struggles. And that's what I'm going through right now with a woman in my life. Like we've got this connection, and all of a sudden she kind of emotionally has changed a little bit and become very distant. So now it's become I've had to open myself up a lot to her and just listen and talk and listen and talk and be there. I flew all the way to Morocco, kind of to help her through some situations. But I wouldn't have been able to do that if I was a man before, because I was so full of myself and so full of trying to have something, be something, accomplish something, you know, live up to something. And not having that allows you to open up yourself to people. And that's medicine to me right now. You know?
What's the difference between courtship at 50 versus courtship at 20? Is courtship different now?
Yeah, 100%. I have so much more respect for it, man.
For
My
the
God.
process of courtship, like intimacy and getting to know people? You mean that process?
Yeah. Yeah.
You have more respect for the process of courtship.
Oh, holy shit. Like I honor it 100 times more, and yeah, honor it and respect it, because I know how fast it can go away, and I know that the grass is not greener on the other side. It's not fucking greener, man. You know?
I used to just get box wine and be like, "Hey, you want to go out to the field and drink?" And then just hopefully, like halfway through the box, you're naked.
Well, well, okay. If you want to,
Right? That's courtship, right? I mean, that was my courtship.
yeah.
That was my
Well,
courtship
yeah.
at 21, right? Hey, look I picked this up from the liquor store. You want to go hang out?
Yeah, I have a better my way is much more in depth.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. Well, you're 50 now. Yeah.
I have a yeah.
I'm married. I don't even know about courtship anymore. I don't even know about it. But the thought of courtship at 50 just sounds terrifying to me.
Oh, really?
Oh, dude. Like I'm not interested in getting to I don't want to get to know anyone else.
Like having sex?
No, not the sex part is cool.
Oh, getting to relationship.
Yeah, getting to know someone, being able to learn to shit with the door open again. With someone. Just like I wouldn't if I lost my wife, just the thought of getting to know someone like my wife again, it's like,
Yeah.
fuck, like, no,
Yeah.
thank
Yeah.
you. It's a lot of work
Well, that's the thing is, so
and
again,
scary
so,
maybe now at the
yeah,
thought
in
of
the
50.
last, so
I'm
in the
ugly
last
now. At least I was cute back then. Now I'm just ugly and hairy. I'm like a fucking carpet.
Yeah, so the last 10 years, again, I've had to retire, financial stuff, divorce, lost some money, had to sell my dream house. My kids moved out. I've been paralyzed 4 times. I've compounded into my femur, broke my foot twice, had to start a whole new off-grid, thing. I live completely on my own. So there has been so much challenge in my life, but also so much growth in my life. Right. So when I got divorced, I always thought, and always men always think, is that I love to be alone. I love to be
Yeah.
alone. And I love being alone. I said, yeah, 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 yeah. You love being alone because you have someone to go home to. I go, wait till the day you don't have someone to go home to, because that day woke me up. That day put me on my knees. When I took off from my wife. So this is how I work. We had some struggles and stuff, and it was going for a while. And I said, you know what, today, to get married to you, I said, I do. Today, I say I don't. And I left and never came back. It's gone. Because I know if you stick around, you're going to start to go back. You're going to, okay, let's try. And you're just creating more residue. If you stick around, there's too many remembering parts that give you too many things to remember. So you're never going to be able to break that cord. If you have the balls and you trust what life is putting in front of you, then you will not look back. And that's
Can I ask
my
you this
way.
question real quick? Was your wife an athlete like you?
No, no, she
Do you
wasn't
think
an
that
athlete, but just, I mean, she was probably the best woman I'll ever meet in my life. You know what I mean?
do you wish that you wouldn't have got a divorce?
Parts of me, yes.
Do you think that if she was an athlete, you would have stayed together if she was an athlete like you? She was a
No,
no, no.
no, no. I mean, we got together at 21. Um, we were a good match. Just life wanted something different. Wanted God. Life wanted a change, because I wouldn't be the person I am now. I wouldn't be as wise as I am now. I wouldn't be able to help as many people as I do now if these things didn't happen in my life. So the divorce was a blessing to me, because I grew into a completely different man, and the man I am now is so much more easy to be than the man that I was. And that wouldn't have happened if I didn't get cut at the knees, pretty much be humbled. So what I'm saying is, yes, being away, like, you can't imagine having courtship. You couldn't imagine, being, starting in something with another person. But once you go through that void of not having anybody, you're going to be searching that out, because you see, now you honor what you had. You honor how
Uh,
important that
Makes
connection
sense,
with
dude. Makes
somebody
sense.
is.
Yes.
You honor being able to walk through that door and be able to have someone that loves you. You
Right.
honor being able to walk through a door and have someone to love.
Right.
'Cause when you live alone, all that's gone, son. All that's gone. And when you wake up in the middle of the night, especially living by yourself out in the mountains, and that's this panic, this fear that comes up of being alone. It's scary. You wake up and you go outside and there's no one to call, no one to talk to, and you're stuck with it. You have to sit with it. But that is when you start to heal. That's when you start to grow. That's when all this noise and all this bullshit starts to fade away, because you're stuck with yourself and there's nowhere to hide from it. So you see that it's fictitious, right? And that's why the only way to heal these days is to get on your own. You cannot be healing and growing in society, because you're bombarded by so much entertainment, so much stress, so much lies, so much propaganda, uh, you know, too many options, that there's no way, you're always going to fall right back into that same person. So these people that have these gurus and go to church and read all this stuff and do this ayahuasca and all that, but they just go right back into the lifestyle that's causing them to look for the guru, go to the church, do the ayahuasca. They just go right back into it. There's never a change. Then you start to feel like you're less than, because you're going out to do this, but then you're always finding you're slipping right back in, because what's happening is you're too comfortable in your environment, you're too comfortable in your lifestyle. And so this life put me out here and made me completely uncomfortable. I mean, I've woken up scared to death. I don't know how many days, just going, what in the fuck am I doing? Oh my God, where am I? My wife, of course, she got in a relationship with my friend that I've known for 15 years. And we have a great relationship, love her to death, love him. You know what I mean? Hang out with him. I don't hold regrets. She's driving Ferraris, living at the beach, doing this because this dude has money, and I'm living in a fucking trailer off grid on 10 acres trying to, you know. So those days, it's like you get a big slap in the face,
Yeah, look at the hummingbird. That hummingbird can't get enough of that bush.
Oh yeah, I got big hummingbirds around here, and
That is a huge hummingbird, actually. That's crazy.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we got some awesome hummingbirds. Yeah, this is my view, man. Check this out. I don't know if you guys can see. So this is my view here. Boom.
Yeah, that's awesome. And for people who don't know, Temecula is kind of like the motorcycle capital of the world, for sure.
Yeah, so that's a motocross. That's a
California.
motocross track right there. Right there is a full motocross track right there, and then Palomar Mountain. Yeah, and we just had these huge fires too that just burnt like 1,000 acres, and it started right across the way from me. My neighbor's trailer blew up.
I saw you had rings. You had rings on a bar.
Yeah, we have rings. I have upside down machines. I have saunas, ice baths, everything. So I sauna, ice baths every day. I hike, run on my trails. So I have a trail system I built on my property that it's all raked and shoveled, and so I do a lot of hiking and running on those. And that is probably some of the best. That's the best training anybody can ever do, is run in the mountains or run in trails. The best.
There's a guy out there I just remembered who is an old acquaintance of mine. I haven't talked to him in forever, but he was a great dude when I used to hang out with him. He was a motocross guy, not like at your level, but I think a aficionado. Bob Zing.
Bob Zing.
Do you know that name? I think he might even have a track at his house.
I don't know.
And I think he's in Temecula. Anyway, it's a close-knit community, though, right?
Yeah.
The motocross crew.
So that's the thing. It's not a big community. It's a wild community. You know what I mean? But it's so close. It's so tight niche. You know what I mean?
Everyone knows everyone.
Yes, and everybody is so helpful. Everybody is so respectful. Yeah, everybody will cut your lunch and this and that because of competition. But when it comes down to it, everybody has your back. And even a lot of people that I've met that come into the motocross community and they get into it there, they can't believe how nice everybody is, and so I think because everybody knows how sketchy it is, how much money it takes, how much they struggled getting in, the struggles that they had, so they're so willing to to give. It's a very giving sport also. So I'm like I say, I'm blessed to be able to have the idea of putting a engine in a bicycle and calling it a motorcycle. That's pretty much what it was. And be able to take me around the world, meet the most amazing people, most amazing experiences, become, successful, competitive, all these things, and be able now share my experiences and share my love to the sport with the sport. And for the last 40 years, that's a blessing. It's an absolute blessing.
Eric Weiss, is this Josh Brolin? I see it. Wow. Has anyone told you look like Josh Brolin before, the actor?
I don't know who that is.
All right. Well, if you saw him, you might recognize him. He's a stud.
Yeah.
Asima.
I got long hair, and so I might look different without a beanie on.
There's Brolin. Asima, there are a lot of videos where you can hear Ryan Hughes talk on this exact subject. Asima says, Eckhart Tolle said adrenaline junkies seek it out because they have trouble being present. I want to rephrase that. It's not that they have trouble being present. It's that they've experienced presence unlike the vast majority of people.
Yeah.
That I think more than they have trouble being present. Yeah, and they need the high-risk circumstances to force them into the now. Maybe try meditation. Yeah. I think that's a little mischaracterized, but go ahead, Ryan. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think he has a little bit backwards by, we are masters at being in the present moment. Because when you take a motorcycle and you have all four extremities moving at the same time, and you're riding a motorcycle that has 60 horsepower, and you're riding a track that has 100 different types of bumps, jumps, ruts, conditions, and changing all at the same time, right? Because dirt changes. So there's no other sport, no other racing like motocross. Street, F1, MotoGP, all that. Yeah, the surface changes changes grip, but it will never change in condition or create a bump or a bigger rut. Does that make sense? And
Dude.
so with motocross, it's happening so fast that you only can be in this present moment. You only can be in this float state. And we put ourselves there 5 days a week, every single week, year in, year out, year in and year out. You know what I'm saying? And so I noticed that because I haven't ridden for a year. And then I rode about 3 weeks ago. And I got on a motorcycle, and it was instantly like I never got off a motorcycle. But once I got off that track, it was like someone hit me with some drug that I haven't had. I was so calm. I was so present. I was so like, because I put myself in a state of almost meditation. Because I noticed everything that I had a concern about or a worry about disappeared instantly. Right. So once we experience that all the time, we want to experience it again, but we can't. And that's where we search for it. Right.
There's a difference between earning it through an art like that as opposed to jumping out of an airplane, or when the first time you unsnap a girl's bra and you see those titties. It's like those also bring you to the present, but those they're kind of like, there's not really an art in it. You know what I mean? Like jumping out of an airplane, you can still get that feeling, or looking at a fresh set of boobs, you get that feeling, but it's like,
it's just like with that, it's just like commitment. With mastering motocross or any other sport, you have to put that consistency there. You have to put that fortitude. There's, like you say, there's an art to it.
Yeah.
You're mastering an art.
One of the things that I do, I kind of have surpassed this, but in the early days when I would be settling into myself, I would shift my awareness all into my body. And then when I would watch it come back to my mind, I would see it pass through this, what I don't know where you call it, but that's who I was. So I would realize I realize I am only awareness when I shift my awareness back and forth between my mind and my body. And there's a spot in the middle there where it's kind of shifting. And that's who I am. And I think that's the spot at high level motorcycle riding where you are the awareness and you're watching the body and the mind, as opposed to being in one or the other.
Yeah, you can't. That's the thing, is you got to have cognitive concentration, but you also have to be feeling what's happening right now.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. It's almost like a planning and a doing, all at the same time. And you have to be in the middle of there, and then be in the middle of there, and then also not get attached to emotion. Can't get attached to bringing the past into the present, meaning that, just because it happened once, well, don't tense up in fear it's going to happen again, or you're going to start bringing that because, the body prepares for all that. And so it's like almost a fine line. And that's where what's interesting to me is I don't feel anybody's ever dissected motocross and what you're truly going through, or maybe even road racing or whatever, what you're truly going through, to a level like they have with like a yogi or just someone meditating. You know what I'm saying? Like, could we find that state doing these things that we do if we went through it with a different approach? Because you can't say that we're not in that state. Like, there's no way to think. And it was so blatant to me because I never had such a contrast. I never took so much time away from it, and then got on the bike and instantly felt like I rode yesterday, and then instantly felt this new state of awareness or new state of consciousness, and not being some hippy dippy anything, just like, holy shit, people,
Right.
like, there's something here.
Do you know this book? It's called Siddhartha. The author's name is Herman Hessa.
The author is familiar, yes.
It's a story of the Buddha and as a young boy, and the three things that he can do are he can his three skills are fasting,
Mm-hmm.
thinking, and meditating. Those are his three skills.
Okay.
And the skill you use to find the present, and there's like another book called Zen and the Art of Archery. And a
Yeah.
guy finds his, and then when he's done, when he finds, for lack of a better word, God, he has to eventually put his bow down.
Yep.
And so it's almost like, is there a piece to this that, do you ever wish, let me start the question again. Let me be even more harsh to you. Do you ever wish that maybe you would have picked up a different tool to find God? Like you would have been a singer or a world-class yo-yo guy, or
Nope.
have another, because now you really are saying you have to give up your tool that you use to find yourself with, to find God with. And now you're not allowed to play with it anymore. You've put it down.
Yeah. So to answer that question, no, I wouldn't
Does
not
that make
want to.
sense to you though, what I'm asking? I know
No,
it's a little bit, okay.
no, it's like fucking perfect sense.
Okay.
Like perfect sense. I love these questions because
Yeah.
these are questions that don't get asked through my sport.
Yeah.
Right. So I love these questions. So one, no, I wouldn't want to find God, find, spirit, find peace through singing or through yo-yo or through anything else, because I'd have to put it down at some time. My voice will go crackly at some time. There'll be another yo-yo, a better yo-yo person that way. Yes, maybe I could do it longer, but maybe they didn't experience the level of presence of God, of whatever it is, because there wasn't a consequence of death. Right.
Oh, wow.
That put
Wow. Yes. Okay.
that puts you in a different space when there's a consequence of death. Not just singing and not just yo-yo, and the yo-yo hits you in the knee, right? And
Yeah,
sing,
taking off a girl's bra, there's no consequence of
yeah,
death.
and
Yeah.
singing, singing just missed a note. No,
Yeah. Yeah.
I have 10 friends or more that I know I can call right now that are paralyzed. I have friends that are dead from the sport. And so it's not like just it's kicks and giggles. So that brings a whole nother level of concentration and intensity. You know, like they said, they've done some tests on people, riders, and motocrossers are the fittest athletes on earth scientifically, like proven. Because of the level we have to do that, and they even our reactions aren't even measurable, because it has to be before reaction. It has to be instant. And so I did this one test one time for Nike. They had this vision board, not vision board, but like they tested your eyes, and Derek Jeter and all these guys had done it, and they put these goggles on, and you got all these things. I mean, it was really high tech, and it came to this point of intuition, of just go, hey, you tell us where you think the light is at, you know. And when we got done, they said, we've never seen a score as high as yours in that one. I couldn't see the lights, but they said, okay. And I just would guess what I thought they were, you know? And so to me, that's more of an intuition thing. And that's where this motocross thing is. But then the point comes is, what do you do when it's done? Yeah, that's great. When you can use it, you have an avenue. But that's my problem now in life, is like I'm like deer in the headlights a little bit, because I can't do that motocross thing. I can't I can't have that thrill in my life. I can't climb that peak. You know what I'm saying? But I'm starting to learn that once I climb the peak, well, I have to go back down to the valley. So I'm always just kind of just covering up what could be this underlying issue in me that I'm always having to chase something for.
Do you like teaching it?
Yes, I love teaching. I'm one of the best in the world.
You love teaching it, yeah.
Yeah, love it. Love it.
What I'm hearing you say is like, hey, if piano was your tool as opposed to a motorcycle, you might be able to do it till you're 95. There's no consequence of death, and you wouldn't get to experience the other side of life, the adventure of having to put it down. So two things. You have to put it down, which gives you another 50 years to look at yourself without that tool now.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's I like that. That's very man,
the
that is some
thing is
warrior
that
shit. That is some warrior shit.
because the thing is how can you go through life just being the same thing?
Yeah.
No, that to me, that's very boring. You didn't progress. You didn't evolve. You didn't challenge yourself. You didn't take a risk. You didn't actually look inside and see what your true colors are. So to
Mhm.
me, it's just like the same thing as, when you talk, when you have kids.
I do. I have 2
Okay.
6-year-olds and a 9-year-old.
Okay, awesome. And I'm sure your wife complained like hell that she was pregnant and saying that you don't have to go through this and holy shit and this and that. And I say, cool. All right. But my outlook on it is, yes, you're right. We don't have to go through this. But the pain you go through and the discomfort you go through, the love that you gain from giving birth to this child is something a man will never, ever in his life experience.
For sure.
So it's kind of like the same thing, Like they have to go through all this pain, but the love that they will experience is so deep compared to the love a man will experience for that child. And you know it. You see
And
it.
yeah, I love
Because
watching
you
it.
were,
I
look,
love
you
watching
were,
their connection. You're right.
yeah, you used to
That
stand on the podium, right?
Yep,
First place.
yep,
First kid came, now you're second place. Third
yep,
kid came, now you're off the podium now. Fuck,
yep,
dude.
yep, yep, yep.
So that's how it works. So it's the same thing with this, is like the intensity that we have to focus and we have to be there because of the consequence or the possibility of pain and death, to me would bring you to so much sharper of a fine-tuned point. Just like Ayrton Senna said when he won Monaco GP in the rain, he said he he experienced God in the race because of the way he was driving. And just, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So he got to that point. But again, how do you go from the warrior and put down the sword and be able to walk through this garden without feeling like you need to stomp on shit, you know? And also feel like you need to just replace what that warrior is doing. So a lot of times people get done with this sport and then they pick up another sport and just go crazy with that,
Right.
you know? And so, but I don't think that's correct. I think that's just like someone going, I'm not an alcoholic, but I smoke 2 packs of cigarettes.
What about young men though? Like, I have a good friend, and he frequents the show, and he's 35 years old, and for 4 years he was the fittest human being who ever walked on the planet, and now it's a young man's game, right? The CrossFit game is a young man's game.
Yeah.
So now at 35, he's picked up bike riding,
Yeah.
and and he wants to be really good at it. His first bike race was the fucking Leadville 100.
Nice. Yeah.
You
That's
know,
gnarly.
what do
Fucking
you think
crazy.
about that? What do you think about that?
I
About
mean,
the
I
fact that
think that,
he
that's,
is, like, fulfilling he is, like,
yeah,
supplementing, he
no,
wants to be real I don't know if he wants to be world class at it, but he wants to be good. He wants to
the same
challenge himself.
thing, the same thing as we all do. All motocrossers get done with motocross and they go into mountain biking or something and just, again, you're just taking that addiction and just putting another name on it.
Yeah.
Right. So, but that's fine. And that's good. You're young and there's nothing wrong with that. But there's going to come to a point where you have to put it all down. You have to put everything to bed at some time. And can you handle not being the best ever all the time?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there's always going to be a point where you're not going to be able to beat people anymore because now you're 50 and there's a bunch of 30-year-olders, so to speak. And there's going to be a point where you don't feel that competitive anymore because you're getting older, you know, or there's going to be a point where you just have to put it down. So can you make that transition and not have to pick something else up? So my whole thing is like, look, sometimes I look at life and just go, okay, what is there? I've lived on the highest level of it doing a sport, and I lived the wild life too. I wasn't afraid to have my fun. You get what I'm saying? So I lived on that level too, and I still do. So just the normal life seems very monotonous. So I've had to learn, how can I just relax in life? How can
Is
I
it is
enjoy how can I enjoy being alive? And so with that, now I start to look at such little things. And when I start to help people get through their struggles, I see how I do it. It's like I'm always, I'm always soothing myself, even with the toothbrush that I use, even with the coffee cup that I use, even, you know what I mean? Just small little things that make me just feel good. I don't need this big extravagant thing. I don't need to climb to the top of the mountain because the valley is much deeper than the peak is high. And you only can stay on the peak for a teeny, teeny, teeny bit. then you got to go one direction, and you always ask down. So can you relax in that valley more? Can you relax in that? And how do you do that is by making your life kind of more soothing, I guess. Because I feel a lot of our points when we get older and we get done with becoming something is that we're so wound up, so, you know, kind of off kilter, that we need to be soothed more instead of, you know, challenged more.
I like this. I like
That makes sense.
I planted 100 fruit trees on my property.
Hell yeah.
And I have a couple dogs, or I had a couple dogs. Now I got one dog, and I like every day I like getting the poop bags, and I like separating them from their serrated. You know, they're connected like 1,000 of them, and you rip them apart. And then I like that feeling of sliding it open so I can put my hand in it. And then I love going in the backyard and finding one. The whole fucking process, Ryan, of capturing a poop so that my kids don't step in it and that I put it in the trash is I know you think I'm crazy as you're telling me about brushing your teeth is soothing.
Yeah.
Picking up dog poop for me is the most soothing thing I fucking do all day.
Holy shit, yeah. Raking
Complete sense of accomplishment every time I fucking grab one of those fuckers. Or thistle plants. If I see a thistle plant on the property, going over and getting my shovel and gently extracting that guy out and being like, sorry, you're not welcome here, buddy. No thistles. Yeah.
Yeah, that would take a long time here. But yeah, I'm that way with the rake. You put a rake and a shovel in my hand, I go meditative.
Yeah.
You know? I'm like Zen. And so I get that. But just, you know, the biggest thing I'm getting at is transition, because I feel a lot of people right now are in this point of like this it's almost like humanity is in this state of aloneness, even though everybody feels like they're connected, right?
Yeah.
We're so disconnected, and this is where I feel we have this anxiety and this struggle and this fear, because everybody has this disconnected sense in them, even though they have a family, even though they have a mate, even though they have, you know, jobs and all this stuff.
Yeah. Because
you're getting so much farther away from yourself. You know, we're being so like we're being so entertained by these exterior influences that we have lost our connection with our own senses.
Yeah.
Right. So it's sensory overload from the exterior that we're forgetting who we are. And to me, forgetting who you are is you're going farther away from spirit, farther away from God. And so that's going to create this almost this aloneness feeling in everybody. Right. And it's because of all this entertainment and everything that we have. It's because of these kids, like you're saying, younger. What are these younger kids? I have to teach these motherfuckers how to be confident, how to want this, how to love what they say they love to do, how to believe in themselves, how to be tough. Like this new generation has been numbed out on how to understand, deal, and express themselves emotionally, and that even comes out into their passions and their loves, right?
Yeah.
It's crazy. So it's just like I have to reteach these kids.
I wasn't confident until I was 50, and my kids are already confident. It's cool. Like they've already accomplished that they're full-time professional athletes. They're just practitioner of skateboarding, the martial arts, and tennis. They don't go to school. Like that's all they fucking do. And they're so calm and confident. They don't do any screen time stupid shit.
Yeah, well, there you go. Like say if because I have a girl and stuff like that, 32, this and that. And so
Your
I have to
daughter's
think
32 already?
No, what? No, my what do you want to call her? My lover, my girlfriend.
Yeah. Your girlfriend's 32?
Well, I can't. Yeah, whatever. I can't help it. Yeah. So, anyways, for some reason, these younger ones like me, and but now you got me off track. What was I saying? Fucking A.
Confidence. I said I wasn't confident until I was 50.
Oh yeah. No, I'm going back to like screen time and this and that. So I've had to think about, look, if I had another kid, you know what I mean? Because I've had to think about it. You know, if I fall in love with a woman that's, let's say, 32, and she wants to have a child, but I tell her I love her.
Yeah.
Then I say, nah, I don't want to have any kids. Well, then you must not love her, because how can you strip away one of the most precious gifts a woman could ever have is to conceive a child. You know,
I'm
how can you take that away?
90% with you. I'm 90% with you.
You know? So I said, all right, if I have another child, well, this is how it's going to be. These little fuckers are not getting a cell phone or anything until they can buy it themselves.
Yeah.
You know, because I saw the transition. I saw when cell phones became very available to kids, because my kids are 26 and this and that. You know what I mean? And so I saw the light go out in them instantly. You know, that what this did, it just completely almost numbed them. And then also junior high. I would never put my kids in junior high again. Maybe high school, but junior high, it's like this transition, man. And this is when all the kids come together and they don't know how to act and this and treat people. And I saw a big change in them also there. You know, it's almost like they're not ready for this stuff yet. Almost this bombardment of comparison and competition and guilt.
It's crazy big dicking. Kids big dick each other.
Yeah, guilt if you're not so-called smart. Guilt or shame if your mom brought you in a Volkswagen and this guy has a Range Rover.
Yeah.
You know, guilt, shame, this and because you wore the clothes 2 days in a row and this guy has new Gucci's, right? It's like they're not ready for that yet. You know, if you stripped all the kids down and just put one uniform on them and didn't have grades, well, then everybody walked to school and don't know where they came from. Then they would all fucking get along. You know, I just think that's just social. And then also now cell phones, that is putting in more pressure on these kids of having to be this and thinking that anybody can be anything. No, sorry. Get that out of your people's minds too. You can be anything. No, you cannot. No, you cannot. Okay? There's people that come ride motorcycles, and I can tell you the first fucking time, you will never be good on that motorcycle. Right? There's someone that picks up a microphone, and the first time they sing, you'll say, there's no way you'll ever be a good singer. It just in your cards. So I think that's kind of just patting people on the back too much. You know? Because again, when you tell people that they cannot do it, well, then that means they all of a sudden can now find a direction that they can do instead of just fooling themselves. Honesty. That's what's missing in this world.
So someone tried to say to me that was trying to talk to me about mental illness the other day. I'm like, oh, you don't need to talk to me about that. I already know the cure. And they said, what do you mean? I said, for 95% of people, it's to throw away all interaction with the outside world, meaning throw your phone away. Just throw your phone away. Well, I can't do that. I'm not telling what you can and can't do. I'm telling you 95% cure for your mental illness. Throw your phone away. You're at the if that doesn't work, move to Africa.
Yeah.
And if that doesn't work, just kill yourself. But I just told you, you don't need medicine. You don't need a therapist. I'm telling you the 95%, 100 cure, throw your phone away. But Sevi, I can't. I needed to look at the bus schedule or to call my mom. I'm just telling you the cure for mental illness. You can have all the excuses you want.
Yeah.
But I'm just told you.
Yeah. It's so you don't really care. You don't really care about fixing yourself.
Right.
So you don't really care about fixing yourself because you still need to be comfortable. So it's like the people when COVID came out and we're in a restaurant, these guys come in with a mask, then they take the mask off and eat for 45 minutes and then put the mask on and walk out.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, so either you're superhuman or you love food. You're such a glutton for food and for taste and this and that you're willing to die for these 45 minutes. You know what I mean? It doesn't make sense to me.
Did they give you the vaccine when you were in the hospital, Ryan? Did they give you the vaccine when you were in the hospital with your paralysis?
No.
Did they try to?
No, they wanted to test me. And I said, the fuck, you're not testing me. I've never been tested ever. Yeah. And so the guy, and then it was a kind of a younger guy, and he's like, hey, how about you do it? I'm like, me? He's like, yeah. So I rubbed it on the outside of my nose and I gave it to him, and he's like, I got you. Yeah. No, hell no, man. I've never even been tested. Yeah. I won't go down that road.
Yeah.
So
of course, schizophrenia and
illness.
Go ahead. Yeah. Go ahead.
You are 100% right, because again, you got to get away from that influence of this entertainment and constant distraction, and then you got to get yourself back into nature. Nature is just medicine, man. I promise you, and that's why I am so fucking blessed to live out here, because I don't have 5G and Wi-Fi and noise and brake dust, and it's like this place is to heal people. So I have this girl in my life that's going through these things. And every time she gets around her family or this and that, they're like, oh, you need to go see your doctor and get back on your meds. I'm like, fuck you. I go, fuck you. I go, if you go down that road, you'll never hear from me again. I go, what you're doing is you're coming out to my place. You're going to stay here for 2 weeks, and we are going to change this narrative. You have just been following the same narrative because all these people just bow down and don't have any fortitude or discipline to change. Like, you're going to come out here and we're going to do this right. Ice baths, saunas, hiking, yoga, no phones,
vitamin D,
waking up with the sun in your eyes and all these different things and doing what has healed me. And so that's what's going to start tomorrow. So it's like, you're completely right about 95% of it, and also not bowing down to it. You get what I'm saying? Not putting that label on, right? Because when I was in my marriage, we have our struggles, and my wife would say, and then also getting done with being a racer, oh, you're just depressed. I said, don't you ever say that to me. Don't you ever say that to me. Don't you ever put that label on me. Because again, once you say I am, now you take on all that weight, all those jungle, all those excuses. Oh, now I'm just depressed. Well, you just took on all its weaknesses. And so I think that's incorrect for people to say that, because everybody has mental struggle. Everybody has mental confusion. Everybody has mental uncertainty. It's humanity,
Someone in the comments said, Sevan, don't advocate for suicide. That's like saying if I said to you, if you go to Mars, kill yourself. Listen, I know 100% of the planet, except for me, is too much of a pussy to throw their phone away and then move to Africa. I personally would do it. And I know the rest of you guys are too much pussy. So I'm not advocating for suicide, because not one other person cares about themselves enough to do that. So fuck off. Okay. Peace and love. Did you ever, after a motorcycle race, have sex in the back of a pickup truck? Like, I picture you winning a race, opening a Bud Light. Sorry, not a Bud Light, a Michelob, and having sex in the back of a pickup truck. I just feel like that's a
no, I've never
motorcycle life. No.
Yeah, I've never done that. The stories that I could tell you would a lot of people would have to turn their internet off. But those were after parties, stuff like that.
Are there girls around in motocross?
Yeah, I mean, of course, there are a lot of girls. It wouldn't be like it is now. If it was our days now with the connection you could have, holy shit! But we'd all be in jail. My era was wild, man. We had a good time. I mean,
where did you meet girls at? Isn't it's all dudes in the sport, right?
No. We have, like, say, when you go to Vegas Supercross, all the bouncers at all the hotels and stuff like that, or doormen at the hotels go, what do you guys do? You guys, motocross brings the best looking girls in any event. Because girls love a fucking guy that has control of something that's uncontrollable. Yeah. I mean, girls love a guy that has control of something that's uncontrollable. That's why they like warriors. That's why they like fighters. That's why they like, fucking bull riders, whatever. It's just because they know that man can handle their shit. They know that man can stand up in the face of fear.
Oh shit! This guy just checkmated my ass.
What do you say?
He said throwing the phone and computer away isn't possible. Then how would you watch the Sevan podcast? I agree. I take that back. I'll rework that. I apologize.
Now, just say only for 2 hours a day you can watch your podcast. Then you throw the shit away. Okay, there we go. We fixed the problem.
When my son started taking jiu-jitsu, I never even told them what it was. I didn't tell him it was a martial arts. I didn't tell him it was for fighting. I said, hey, here's just this class. It's funny. I don't even know what they thought of it. I don't know if they thought it was tumbling or rolling around. Do you remember what you thought? Has your thoughts on what motorcycles are changed over the years? Do you ever think about what a motorcycle is?
I just feel it was one of the most creative inventions that's ever been created, because there's nothing that you can ride on snow, sand, mud, dirt, wheelies, uphill, downhill, rocks, go fast, go slow, travel around the world, go long distance, slow distance, do backflips on it. There's nothing ever been created like this. A bicycle, you can't, it's limited. A car is limited.
Well, there's no combustion engine on the bike, that's for sure.
Skis are limited. Footballs are limited. Basketballs are limited. You know what I mean? A street bike is limited.
Are there electric bikes in motocross yet?
Yes, sir. It's coming. This wave is coming.
And do you have thoughts on that?
I mean, I think it's good. I think it's good because it can open up a whole nother arena of motorcycles, like bring it more mainstream inside the cities, which I see is let's bring it into inside the cities. Like you see Formula One racing in Las Vegas and all these cities. Well, let's bring Supercross, something like that, inside the city where you're not going to have noise. You're not going to have dust. It can be more on street. You can bring in ramps, man-made stuff like that. You can go down alleyways. I don't know, just something different, because it's not going to be fun to watch Supercross in a stadium with a bunch of blenders and you can hear everybody talk over them. It's not going to be exciting at all. But you cannot have electric motorcycles riding with 4-stroke or normal motorcycles, because we go off of noise to know where our competitors are at, behind us or side of us. And so when we don't have that, we're moving over and we don't know that guy's there, and you're going to cause a lot of crashes.
Dude, urban is there urban racing anywhere? Is that a sport already? No.
And I've been talking about it, and so that's where we need to go. So then people could just be even sipping their coffees on their little terrace watching this.
Wow.
Right? More urban, downstairs and stuff like that. Just, it has to be a different realm, or what are you doing? You're just trying to just make a change that might not be a good change, because listening to electric motorcycles and watching them go is not exciting. I mean, I hate to say it.
Right.
Hate to say it. That's why it's happened to Formula One. Formula One took down the noise and they lost their fans. That's what's cool about fucking Formula One, is the noise, is the pitch. Same if they did that to, if they did to drag racing. No, the thing is getting your heart, feel like your heart's stopping when that top fuel is going down the drag strip. That's
why you like watching planes at the airport, the sound.
That's the joy of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like going to a football game and go, okay, everybody, nobody cheer. That game would all of a sudden be the boringest thing you've ever watched. The boringest, because football is 3 hours and they actually only play 13 minutes. I do not know how people are so addicted to this fucking game that only plays 13 minutes and you're sitting there for 3 hours.
Oh, which game? Football?
Football. I'm sorry, but if people didn't applaud in that game or cheer in that game, it'd be the boring thing you ever watched.
Right.
I'm sorry, but
and a bunch of big dudes just running full speed into each other. It's really a kind of a fight.
It's kind of like football, or kind of like basketball too. It's like there's so many fouls that it's just stupid.
What do you think about that Isle of Man race?
That's gnarly. That dude's got balls bigger than balls,
Have you been out to watch that ever?
No, but I've watched a lot of documentaries. I've watched the race, this and that. But dude, that's a whole nother level. But not necessarily, because when I get on a road and I don't know it and I'm going fast on it, well, I'm so focused, and it's not scary because I have such control of this motorcycle. This motorcycle are my feet. This motorcycle are my hands. This motorcycle is my eyes. This motorcycle is my thought. So I feel very safe on a sketchy surface or situation because of the control I have. So that's where those guys are at. They have such control of these motorcycles, and they know these streets so well that they can ride that edge. But that edge always has one place where you could slip, And so for me, that's where I go silent, is on that edge. When I'm at that edge, is where I go silent. And that's probably what those guys, are experiencing, because a lot of these guys aren't high caliber racers in MotoGP and stuff like that. A little bit sometimes older guys too. And but
someone said 6 people died this year at the Isle of Man. Man, I wonder how many were in the audience and how many were on the bikes.
Yeah, dude. But again, it's like you can't, people want to feel sorry and this and that. I don't feel sorry. I'm sorry. I don't know why I don't feel sorry, because you knew the risks. it's not like the first event and everybody was telling you that it's going to be safe and slow, and then all of a sudden this happened. No, this has been happening for years and years and years, and these guys keep signing up for it. That's their thrill, that's their passion, that's their love, that's their what they want to get out of life. So if they lose their life in it, well, hey, I'm glad that you're doing what you love, but I don't feel kind of sorry, you know.
One audience member and 5 riders this year.
Now the audience members, now that sucks. I feel bad for them, you know.
Yeah.
That's no bueno, because again, you're sitting there and that's what could close down that race, is shit like that, you know. And maybe you never can tell where the crash is going to happen, but there's places that you don't need to be putting fans probably.
Tell me about being off the grid. That sounds like you literally have your own electricity and your own well, and you're growing your own food, and you got animals that you eat.
So I started this thing about 3 years ago, and again, I just found myself out here after divorce, all this, and I bought this property, didn't really want to, but it happened, it fell in my lap. And one time, you know, I'd keep coming out here trying to get things going, and once I got divorced, I bought this big fifth wheel trailer, 5 slides, just massive thing, you know, whatever it was. And one day I said, you know what, if I do not go out there, I'm never going to get this started. So I brought the trailer out here, dumped the tanks, the poopers, filled the water tank up, came out here, got a dog from the pound, and I said, all right, here we go. And I started. And I just started chipping away and chipping away and chipping away. So I have my own well, I have my own power, so everything's solar. So like the other day, all the power was turned off from San Diego County and Riverside County because of the winds. Not me. I'm the only one in this whole place that had power. So I have that. I have about 40 fruit trees growing right now, and as you know, it just takes time for them to produce.
Yeah.
You know, my dog got killed by a car last January, so that was pretty devastating. I had chickens, but then they got massacred by the neighbors' dogs. So I just been in a phase of not wanting to have a responsibility, not having a responsibility anymore. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Hey, let me ask you this: the what do you do if there's no sun out? Your batteries can hold power for a few days.
Yeah. Then you start. You know, again, that's what being off grid. It brings you more. It makes you more present. It makes you more tuned in. You have to remember, you know, your battery storage. You have to remember, you know, maybe some propane or some diesel for the generator to run the pump or whatever it is. You know, it's just you can't just flip the switch on for heat and cool and call Julio and your pool guy and all this shit. Like all the chores are on me. All the shopping's on me, all the cooking's on me, all the cleaning's on me, all the everything's on me. But that brings you more to this present moment, more tuned in with nature yourself, instead of always feeling like you're distracted by constant entertainment. Right. So yes, so winter times I have to be more conservative. Maybe if I run my sauna, I'll turn my generator on to run my sauna and not go to my batteries. So just got to be a little bit more, you know, smart that way.
And in the internet, do you have Starlink or?
Yeah, I have Verizon. I have Wi-Fi out here, but I can turn it off and all that. So that it. And I have TV. You know, I have a Formula One simulator out here. You know, 2 saunas, 2 ice baths, full kitchen, 3 outdoor showers, 2 outdoor bathtubs, 3 outdoor toilets, indoor bathrooms. Yeah, so I built it all.
Ryan, how did you get the nickname Rhino?
Well, my name is Ryan, and my buddy's dad named me because I'd always, in my beginning of my career, I'd always get bad starts, and I would just come through the pack like a fucking, you know, like a rhino. And he goes, one race, he goes, dude, you're just like a rhino. It doesn't matter who's in front of you. It doesn't matter where you're at on the track or whatever. You'll get through somebody. You'll charge through somebody and get to the front. And I'm like, and so everybody just call me Rhino. And it fits because that's kind of the way I go about life. Is this? I came in wild and I'll leave wild. No other way. It would be meaningless for me to be here and be a duplicate. You know, because we're all, you know, again, when your children were born, they couldn't even suck their own thumbs, right? when your kids were born. So that means they're a blank canvas. Well, here comes the wife, here comes the dad, the grandma, the grandpa, the school system, the religions, the society, and all that, putting their brushstrokes on them, and all of a sudden you had a masterpiece because it was a blank canvas now painted like a duplicate. And life does not make duplicates; it only makes ones of a kinds masterpieces, and that's where we're all missing, is that we're getting painted like what we feel we should be instead of allowing our true colors to come out. And the only way to do that, to me, is through these tough times in life, looking at them as blessings, not as poor me's, and then being able to have time and, to be able to have solitude with yourself, so you can have an inner dialogue with yourself, so you can actually ponder on these thoughts and these worries and these concerns and these this and that. But it's so easy just to be like, to cover them up because you have so many ways of doing it.
Christian Kettler, how does he produce all that electricity off grid? He's in a really sunny spot on planet Earth. Southern California, Temecula, that area, there's a lot of sun there, and he's got solar panels and batteries, so he collects it and stores it.
Yeah, no, I live in a very, very, very sunny place. So I call this place Casa de Sun because I can see sunrise, sunset, 360 days of the year with no obstructions. It's great.
Ryan, how do you do most of your teaching? Do you do it remote, or do you go out to tracks? How do you do most of your teaching?
I do most of my teaching, in person at tracks. I travel the world doing it consistently. At tracks that are local. I have a lot of stuff on, of course, old DVDs. I have stuff on YouTube. I have stuff on Instagram. I have some master classes that I've created. Training websites. I've put it out in all different ways.
Is that a competitive field? Are there a lot of motocross trainers?
It was competitive when I started. I was kind of like the first one that came in with technique. Coming in, I changed the whole sport with technique. The rider, everybody rode a different way. Everybody rode actually incorrect. They used the body kind of pretty much the worst way you could ever use it, by rounding the back and tucking the butt. That's impossible. So I brought this functional positioning into the sport and really dissected it, and was able to get it through everybody's understanding. And it took a while because everybody thought I was crazy, but now the whole sport follows it. There's not one person on earth that doesn't ride that way. And there's not one coach on earth that's teaching technique, that's not teaching what I brought into the sport. So now there is so many coaches and teachers, because now all these riders are getting done with racing, and becoming a coach, and stuff like that. So so that's why for me, I'm going different directions, where motocross is a little bit stale to me, because I feel there's nothing else I can teach in it except the mind of it. And that's what I'm looking for, is to try to get everybody to understand how the mind works while you're racing, and where the pitfalls are and stuff. But then also helping just the normal person with inversions, where people come and stay with me for a day, come stay with me for 3 days a week, and I get them to emerge into my lifestyle and what I do, and that will be able to heal, or I guess let something heal something, and let something grow that's inside of them, right? Teaching them how to get back to their instincts.
You're doing a retreat in Hawaii in December?
We wanted to, but we're trying to wait for the people that sign up and this and that. So I have a place that wants to do it. They always want to use my name, but then they don't kind of stay on board with it.
Gotcha.
So what I would like to say, I have a cottage and all this stuff here, so I want to bring people here, and they emerge into my life. So same thing, away from cell phones. We're doing ice baths, we're doing saunas, we're hiking, we're doing yoga. I'm cooking food for you. We got the best coffee, the best super drinks, and all these things, and we just emerge people. So that's something that I'm more interested in now than trying to find this next rider, this next athlete.
Tell me,
I think humanity needs more of that than a better rider.
Fair. Tell me about what you did, your involvement with getting knee pads. No, sorry,
Knee braces, or
knee
knee pads.
braces. Tell me about that journey and are those out of the sport because of you?
Well, what happened? Knee braces came in like the 1988 or 1990, and that's when I knew I was best friends with the son of the guy who invented the first knee brace for motocross, Jim Castillo, CTI Brace Innovation Sports. And so yeah, it was like, oh cool, yeah, put them on, and I wore them my whole career. Then some new braces came out with a neck brace, and this neck brace came out, and this is what happened to our buddy Jedediah. He had a neck brace on, and it pushed into his spine and paralyzed him. So I saw this problem straight from the get go, is that you cannot have something that your head hits that's attached to a metal, that's attached to a carbon fiber strut, a 2-inch carbon fiber strut that has no movement resting on your spine, and then it has a stopping point. Does that make sense? So if you have this, it's going to push in. So when the head goes back, it pushes into my spine. And that's what's happened to so many riders that put this neck brace on to try to protect themselves. It actually made them more dangerous. But the problem is the position that it would put you in just to be able to see up made you the most dangerous rider on the track. And so this came out right when the 4-strokes were starting to come out, be more popular, get faster. So the development of equipment was coming out, and this neck brace was coming in and causing people to be in a very weak, unstable, uncoordinated, inefficient position, and making the sport very dangerous now. And so this is where I came in at that same time with this new technique and the balls enough to say that you guys are fucking wrong. This does not work. Look at you guys can put any kind of test you want into a laboratory or whatever, but you're never going to resemble what the body does technically on a motorcycle. And again, you're trying to, you know, you're worrying about after the crash has happened, which we have no control of. I'm only talking about the position to be in before the crash has happened, and that's where you're going to save all crashes, right? So people started listening, and now that device almost barely even exists in our sport at the top level. I think there's one guy in the whole world that's wearing it now.
So it makes you a worse rider, which makes you more likely you'll get in an accident if you wear the thing that's supposed to protect you when you do get in an accident.
Yeah. So again, you're starting out in a weak, unstable, uncoordinated, inefficient position. So now you just magnified anything that happens that you're not ready for or that causes you to go off balance. Right?
That's wild.
And because you're hoping that this fucking device that you have wrapped around your neck that's not even attached to your body, that's made out of carbon fiber around your jugular and your throat and all this, is going to save you. Right? No, it's not. And it's going to lock up your head. And again, if we're supposed to not be able to tuck and roll, then that wouldn't be the first thing that everybody teaches you in jiu-jitsu and everything else. You know, if you can't tuck and roll, then you're a lawn dart. So anyway, so that happened. And then we always been wearing knee braces. And so one day I just went riding, and I didn't want to put knee braces on because it was just too much. And I'm like, I just want to ride, you know? And I put knee pads on and I rode. And I came back and I'm like, holy shit. I can't believe how good I just felt. I can't believe how light I felt. I can't believe how much I could feel the motorcycle. And so then I started putting two and two together, started thinking about the body. Okay, well, you know, you have 30 to 40 degrees of interior and exterior rotation at your knees, right? So in a car, in a motorcycle, anything, take 30 to 40% out of anything that's supposed to move on it, and tell me how good you're going to ride it. You're going to be limited. So if the body has been designed to have all these joints to move at certain angles and certain positions, well, then they need to be used to their maximum, not be locked up, or you're going to limit the ability of the body. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So when you do that, then you have so much more efficiency because there's a lot happening at the knees because that's where the seat and the rest of the bike is. And so when you don't have movement at your knees, well, then you have to bring it up to the hips, and then you start to counterbalance everything. And this is why downhill skiers cannot use knee braces. Yes, if they have a blown out knee, of course, but to be the best downhill skier, you can't wear knee braces because you need to have that movement at that point.
What were they supposed to do? Why even wear knee braces?
They're supposed to protect your knees. So now, to my point, is whatever you don't use, you lose. So whenever you put a cast on your arm in 72 hours of not moving that muscle start to atrophy. So when your knees don't have to stabilize themselves, then they will become weaker. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. They'll become weaker. And so everybody's comment to me is, well, hey, yeah, but so many people have hurt their knees and blown out their knees. I said, okay, let's go back 20 years. What did all those people have on their fucking knees? Knee braces. There hasn't been a person that has blown out their knee in motocross without a knee brace on in I don't know how many years, because everybody has them on. So if they work so good, then why are they causing you to still hurt your knee, and why are they causing you to move inefficiently? Think about it. That's the only thing. And I'm not. And I didn't come out. And I didn't come out with the knee pad. I didn't come out with a device. I didn't come out with anything to sell.
Right.
I'm putting my name, dragging my name through the mud.
Yeah.
I'm having people not like me.
Yeah.
I'm having people talk shit about me because I care about the sport.
Your friend's dad must have hated you. You must have killed his business.
I tell everybody in the sport, I say, be very careful of me. I go, I'm not afraid to lose you as a friend to tell a million people the truth.
Yeah.
Okay? I don't give a fuck. So what is the truth is what is the truth. And if I don't speak the truth, then I'm a liar, because I know something that I'm not allowing anybody to know, because I have to save face for somebody, protect my persona, protect a job, protect a paycheck. Nah, just how I live off grid. Nobody owns me.
Did your friend's dad, was he pissed that you killed his business?
I didn't kill his business. His business is already sold and this and that.
Oh, okay.
And that. But I mean, no, he believes, he knows the same thing. They know the same thing. All these people know the same thing. You know, but if they don't scare you with fear, you're never going to buy their product. And that's what a lot of these brace companies do. They create fear in you that you're going to blow your knee out or break your neck. So you need to buy these products, but now you just cause other problems, other issues.
There's no obese people in motocross, huh? Like high-end riders, you can't be obese.
No, dude, you can't. No, again, the fittest athletes on earth are they as fit as I think they could be? No, I'm blown away by how a lot of these top riders have just soft bellies. You know, like what the fuck do you eat? Who's actually looking at what you're doing? You shouldn't be this high caliber of an athlete and have a bloated belly. You know, bloatedness means that there's dis-ease in your body. So that means you're not running at your optimum. Then that means you're just relying on your bike to do everything. So that means you're never, yeah. I mean, I could go on and on and on.
Why isn't motocross? What about the woman's mind makes it so that women aren't attracted to the sport? Like, I don't see a lot of women garbage collectors. I don't see a lot of women. My kid's into magic. I don't see a lot of women magicians. What about motocross? Do you have any thoughts on that?
There's a lot of women that love motocross. There's a lot of women riders, but oh yeah, there's a lot of women riders, and I believe there would be a shit ton more if the sport would actually take it serious. See, fuck the sport. That's what I say to you. I'd say to the sport, fuck you, because there is women out there that care about it and love it just as much as men, that will and spend the same money as men and do all the same thing as men. Just because they're not as fast, just because they're not as exciting to watch, doesn't mean that they should not have an opportunity to express what they love to do, or to be rewarded for what they love to do, because there is room for it. There's room for a series. There is room for a big race. There's room for, teaching women, bringing them into the sport, because when women get into the sport, they absolutely love it. I have 3-4 of the hottest girls you would imagine wanting me to teach them to ride motocross.
But it's also okay if there's things that are inherently more attractive to men than women too, right? You're not opposed to that. Like they want to have all these women be engineers at Facebook, right? Because it's dominated by Indian men. And I'm like, dude, who gives a fuck? Let men do what they want, let women do what they want. Why are you trying to force
that whole thing of being that whole gender thing of we need to make room for everybody? No, fuck you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
A woman should not be a soldier. Done.
Right. Okay,
I don't
good.
care.
I agree. Yeah.
I don't care. Just you shouldn't be a soldier. A woman is never going to be a professional motocross racer. Impossible. Doesn't mean that they cannot still have an opportunity to do what they love.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
A
All right.
woman watching a woman ride motocross compared to a man watch motocross is like it's like two different. Like they're doing two different things, and it's
Right.
just because of how men work. Now, change that role. Who would I rather teach, a woman or a man, to ride motocross? A woman all day long.
Oh, and because of their ability to learn.
Their ability to learn, their ability to listen. They need to know how to do it before they do it, because they didn't just see Johnny do it, and now Billy's ego says, "Oh, I can fucking do it," and then, now he's in the hospital. Right?
Yeah.
So just because they're not as physically demanding as us doesn't mean that they can't learn it better than us, quicker than us. Right? There's just roles. I don't think a man really needs to be a nurse.
Doesn't need to be a preschool teacher. Doesn't need to be a kindergarten teacher either.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be any of this. It's just like, that's not, you don't have that softness. When I have a man nurse, I don't feel the same love that I do from a woman nurse. The tenderness, the care, right? Get your ass out there and start pounding nails and fucking making stuff and building stuff and protecting stuff and all that. That's what a man should be out doing.
Heidi Kroom, so the women are just there because they're hot. Well, and they listen.
Women are there just because they're hot and they listen?
I don't know what she's saying. No, they're not just there just because they're hot. You just accept it that you're hot, Heidi.
They're all hot.
Yeah, they're all hot.
Any girl that rides motocross to me is hot.
Yeah. You got a motorcycle, you're hot.
Yeah,
Wait, you're an ugly chick? Go buy a motorcycle.
Go buy a motorcycle. Damn, girl, you just got hot. Look at you.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ryan, you are a cool dude, and people who, man, you have a lot to teach the world, and I'm excited that I got to chat with you, and I'm excited to keep following your story. Please keep posting on Instagram, because there's a lot of us who are interested in all the nuances of your life. Between what you eat, your health. We didn't even scratch the surface on that. How you live your life, your past, your future, kids, relationships, diet. I mean, you have a lot to offer the world, brother.
Yeah, I know I do, and I've been pushed and I've been prodded and stuff to always have like a YouTube channel.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I've just been, I'm like, everybody has a podcast, everybody has this.
Yeah.
Like, what can be different? I need to find something different, because that's me. I don't need to be different. That's just how I tick. I love uniqueness. Right. Uniqueness is beauty. And so that's the same thing as I look in women. Like the women I have, or the women that I'm attracted to, are so fucking unique. Like most people couldn't handle it. But it's just, I need to have that because that's who I am. And so I want to share more of this, but I'm also not a person that is good with putting a camera up my ass all the time.
Yeah.
And I'm also a person that loves his solitude.
Right.
So if you have any ideas or have any things of like, look, dude, I think this would be something cool for you to do, to be able to share your message so much more, because you are right, dude. I got a lot of stuff to talk about and to explain and to share and to this and that. And that's kind of medicine for me. That's what I feel a little bit is missing in my life, is that life is like God is wanting me to transition from expressing this rhino out in my physical form, which excited everybody and entertained everybody, to expressing it out into my words and into my feeling, my energy.
Hey, if I could recommend something that I think that you'll get a lot of enjoyment from, and that I think the people would enjoy, I think what's really popular are how-to videos. So like someone buys a shithole house and they spend the next 3 years remodeling it, and they start a YouTube station. Those stations explode. But if you showed like, hey, here's where I keep my batteries for my solar. This one went out. I have to go to the store and replace it. If you made a 2-minute video on that, or hey, look at my chickens died. They got eaten by coyotes today. This is what I built for them so they don't get eaten again. People will go nuts because they could live vicariously.
Has anybody ever taken a piss? Anybody ever taken a piss outside on your podcast?
No. Wow. A 143.54, cut it. You have your dick in one hand and the phone in the other hand?
Damn straight.
God, that's good.
Well, actually, the dick on the ground. Sorry.
So yeah, you just rested on the ground. 1,400.
I got a pee rock. I just kind of rested on the rock right there.
Yeah. Oh, that's nice. A warm pee rock.
Yeah. Well, hey, that's about living off grid. Right, just go
1,400
outside.
episodes in, and we had a urinator on the show.
I like to be the first. See, I've always liked to be the first, so I had to come up with something that nobody's ever done.
I appreciate it. I'm a hog connoisseur. Brother, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, man. Thank you. Thanks for the very interesting questions and perspective, and yeah, that would be cool to do some stuff in the future, whatever. But I appreciate
Absolutely. I'll be watching, and I look forward to our paths crossing again.
it. All right, buddy. You take care.
All right, brother. Have a good one.
Yeah, you too. Thank you.
Ryan Hughes took a pee on the podcast today. Rest his... Hey, a pee rock. That's actually a fucking brilliant idea. You know those sticks, Caleb, you have, and then it goes to a Y like this, and then you put it in your yard to hold up branches that might break off? Let's say you have a heavy branch that has like 300 apples on it. You don't want it to break off. So you put like a... You know what I'm talking about?
Right.
Imagine if you kind of had something like that. We designed something like that. It's called the pee stick. It's a Sevan Podcast invention, and you have them around your yard so that you don't even have to stop and put your phone down. Like if you're texting or Instagramming, you just pull your penis out and rest it in there and pee while it's like the V's holding it up.
I like it. That's a good idea.
You like it?
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, that's good. I was trying to think of a name for it, like the TSP.
Philip Kelly. We have now found the difference between an alpha and a beta. Sevi needs piss breaks. Beta. This guy pisses on the show. Alpha. Hard to argue with that, Mr. Kelly. Hard to argue with that. I like to think of myself more as an alpha whisperer than a beta, but
Yeah, that was pretty hilarious.
I had no idea where to go with this guy. This guy's done a lot of shit.
Yeah, he's the most interesting man in the world.
Yeah, he is.
I tried to find. It's hard to find a video of his racing because I think at this point he's just posting everybody that he's coaching.
Yeah, just still photos. Plus, he raced a long time ago before there was like every Tom, Dick, and Harry had a cell phone.
Right.
Oh, the Piz prop by Sevan. Wow, Spiegel. The Piz prop.
That's good. Like it.
Schlong sling. Oh, Deja, what about that? What about like a necklace that goes around?
Hey, I like that.
And so that would hurt my neck, probably break my neck if I had to hold my penis up. But for most people, it would be fine. Alpha Curator. Thank you, Jan. Thank you. Oh, wow. That could be. I want to change the name of the podcast. Not the Sevan Podcast, the Alpha Curator. Wow. Oh, my goodness. Can that be written below? Where's Souza? Can that be written like here? It's the Sevan Podcast. And then here it says the Alpha Curator.
Just take a piece of cardboard and cover the Sevan.
Look, here's the wire. You guys see the wire? You guys missed this? There it is. Vanished like that, like a magician. I've tucked it away. Mrs. Burns from Sabbath Essentials. Trying to win my favor. Sevan. Sevi. 2 V's. I'm sending out another care package for you and Mrs. Sevi. Oh, that's awesome.
I just started use some of her stuff yesterday.
The Sabbath Essentials?
Yeah.
Did she send it to the Shadican?
Oh, she sent it to my parents' house, but yeah.
Does the Shadican get
Oh, it gets mail.
Oh, it does?
Yeah. Automatically received bills and letters from Congress about voting.
Oh. Sounds like it gets. I can't find Sabbath Essentials on the internet right now. It says Sabbat Essentials. Dude, I've saw some fucking. I've been seeing the craziest shit I've ever. Oh, here it is. I found it. Did you find it? Are we racing?
No, you got it.
Sabbath. What is the Sabbath? That's the day. Like, it's some God
Sunday,
stuff,
isn't it?
right? I know, but does it have? Is it like? It's after like God made the earth and then He rested on the 7th day or something. Where's this?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
What do you think she sent to me and my wife. A daily cleanser, face wash. I think my wife sprays that on my kid's face.
Just probably sent you body oil, men's body oil.
Do they split by sex on here?
No, you can just. I think.
Oh yeah, men's products. Look at.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Oh, we even get different color. Men's night balm. Men's toner. Men's face and beard oil. I don't really think of myself as having a beard.
You don't think so?
Not just hair on my face.
You could probably use some oil for it though. Oh,
you know how
what she sent me? Is that what that bar is? Ms.
What
Burns?
bar?
You
What
sent me a
bar?
bar, and I didn't know what it was, but it smells really good.
I don't
Smells
see
like
any bars
honey.
in the collection.
Well, there was like.
Oh, there's hormone support. And it's spelled WHORE, hormone support. The hormone workbook. Wow, this is pretty robust. Wow. I don't see any bars.
Okay. Oh, yeah. She said that's the soap that she sent me. It smells really good. I haven't used it yet.
I love soap.
To lather my balls with it tonight.
I stayed at the Omni in Los Angeles, and I took the 4 bars of soap in the 2 bathrooms in my room. I did.
Why?
I just do. I always steal the soap. I'm just a fucking cheap bastard. Look at this. This is fucking nuts. So we went through like 2 or 3 years of just like, hey, everyone hates black people. Do you remember that?
Sure. Yeah.
And then we went through like everyone hates Asian people, even though it was just black people beating Asian people and stealing their shit. But then we went through like a little like month or 2 Asian hate phase, right? But
Okay.
like the news had to tell you that stuff.
Right.
Like you had to be like they would show like an Asian woman like getting beat up, and the news would be like, this is Asian hate. They would never be like, this is a black guy beating a Asian woman or something. But the stuff where it was like people hating black people, like it was like 365 million police stops, 12 unarmed black men dead. And like every time they showed you the video footage, it was like a female cop like trying to pull over like some black dude, and he's fighting back and resisting, so she shoots him. And it's like, well, why do they all look like that? It was never like the 12-year-old black kid playing his trombone on the front yard and a cop runs by and just shoots him. You know what I mean? It was like it's not, and I'm not justifying any of them. I'm just saying the truth. I'm just saying that like you never saw like lynch mobs ever to black people or to Asian people or to any people. It was a complete exacerbation. The worst thing I ever saw is now when you turn on CNN and it's just a blatant attack on white people. Like they'll be like, well, it's just another entitled white man running for office. And it's like, you just attack someone with the whole premise that they're white. You could never say that, right? It's just another black man with his pants sagging.
Yeah, right.
It's just another black man who kills other black men. You could never say that.
How dare you?
But those are more true than just another entitled white man, because no one knows if the white man's entitled or not, but we've seen tons of black men with guns and tons of black men with their pants sagging. The whole thing is fucking crazy. But you've never seen anything like what I'm about to show you. Like fuck the black dudes and the white dudes and the Asian hate. You've never seen what I'm about to show you. This is fucking. You saw the airport where the fucking Dagestani white people were like trying to kill the Jews. Did you see that at the airport?
Yeah, they're like going through the planes and
fuck. You've seen on campuses all over the country now where it shows Jewish kids like hiding in classrooms while like Palestinian riots are going on outside, right? Protest. Well, look at this fucking shit. This is fucking nuts, dude. A Cornell University student named Patrick Dye was arrested for making online threats, kill and rape and slit the throats of all black people. Oh, no, sorry. All Jewish people.
Whoa.
How?
Damn.
So just so you know, anytime you hear Jewish people, you might just think white people. And then if you really wanted to be completely honest with yourself, just think Americans. Jewish people and Americans are synonymous. That's how the outside world sees it. You need to know. Like, so the three chants are death to America, death to Israel, and death to Jews. Like, to them, they're all synonymous. Death to Zionists. All that is like just death to America. Death to America for... Do you think this guy's a Democrat or a Republican?
Shit, I don't know.
Come on. What are the chances that this guy's a Republican?
Very slim.
0. Well, yeah, he's not racist because Asian people can't be racist. So get that out of your mind right now. Only white people can be racist. A Cornell University student named Patrick Dye, I'm going to see if I can find him on Instagram, was arrested and charged for making the online threats, kill, rape, and slit the throat. Hey, I've never said to... I can't ever remember saying to rape anyone. Have you ever, like... I've never been like, tell my dog, rape those gophers. Even though I probably should say that. I've never wished anyone to be raped, ever. I've never even thought of it.
No.
I've never thought of slitting anyone's throat, ever. Never. I never even said the 1,000 times I've fucking thought about Hitler, I've never thought about slitting his throat.
Dang.
No, take the worst racist in the world. A white racist in the world. They've never thought about slitting a black guy's throat. No cop is ever like, well, today I'm going to go out and slit a black guy's throat. Never. It's never happened. This is just nuts. Can we go burn Ferguson down or something again? Okay, fine. Tell me. I mean, Vittori, yeah, you're right. Hey, Vittori, here's the thing. Vittori says, never, Sevi. Come on. All crows are black. Now, that is not a true statement. Not because anyone's ever seen a crow other than a black one, but because we just can't see all crows. You understand? We just can't see all the crows. It's impossible. So that statement is just not true. All crows are black. So if you want to go there, sure, okay, I agree with you. You're right. One time, a guy with a lisp, instead of saying, I want to see up that black girl's skirt, he said, I want to slit that black girl's neck because he's talked funny. His parents said, Mike McCaskey, his parents said he's depressed and didn't type those things. Oh, my goodness. If you see a Jewish person on campus, follow them home and slit their throats. Rats need to be eliminated from Cornell.
What did he write that on? What is
Democrat or Republican?
Communist.
There's no Republicans doing this. They might hate Jews, but there's no Republicans doing this. The genocidal fascist Zionist regime will be destroyed. Rape and kill all the Jew women before they birth more Jew Hitlers. Jews are excrement on the face of the earth. No Jew civilian is innocent. I want to read that all to you now like this. In the last 3 years, have you ever heard of this at all? Okay, ready? If you see a black person on campus, follow them home and slit their throats. Monkeys need to be eliminated from Cornell. The genocidal fascist regime will be destroyed. Rape and kill all black women before they birth more black rappers. Blacks are excrement on the face of the earth. No black civilian is innocent of genocide. Let me go on. I mean, oops, I didn't accidentally like that, did I?
Yeah, you did.
Fuck me. Unlike. Whew. I don't get anything about it. You've never heard anything like that. Ever.
The only time I've ever heard that is from ISIS.
But it wasn't about black
Islamic
people.
Extremists. No,
I'm
just saying, like, you would hear that said about Americans.
So now just think, Now, just think for a second. I want you just to put it in perspective. George Floyd was driving on the streets, drunk on meth, high on fentanyl. He'd put a gun on a pregnant woman's stomach. He was using counterfeit money. His last 2 previous arrests, he screamed, "I can't breathe," while in the back of the cop car also. For his 3rd arrest, he was also screaming that. And when he died from a drug overdose while a cop had his knee on his neck to keep him from banging his head on the concrete, this country fucking fucked itself up for 2 or 3 years. Now imagine if you're going to defend a guy like that and build a bronze statue of him in New York as a hero. Imagine what fucking Jews are going to do when you say you're going to rape and kill their women. Netanyahu is going to flatten the Middle East. Flatten. They raped and killed fucking healthy. I'm not justifying it. I'm not telling you it's the right thing. It's the wrong thing. I'm just telling you. Yeah, they're going to flatten the curve. Yeah. Like, if you have any trouble understanding the fucking hypocrisy, you never, I just can't, I just have never heard anything like that towards any other ethnicity. I'm tripping. Any people, nationality. I've never, I mean, you have to go back and read some shit like the KKK. And by the way, the KKK did that to white people too. And by the way, they were Democrats also. Oh, you're out of your fucking mind. You're going to jail. I can't find Patrick Dye on the internet.
It's a plant by the CIA.
Maybe. Man. Oh, shit. It's already on the Department of Justice website. United States Attorney General Office. Cornell student arrested for making online threats to Jewish students. Is that illegal? What about freedom of speech? Why can't he say that? Like, why couldn't he just be like, well, no, that was just doing a little creative writing. It was actually to show you how, what if he were to flip the script and be like, hey, it was to show you how fucked up the Muslims are. What if he said that? You guys totally misunderstood what I was saying.
I don't know. Isn't there something about like, inciting violence or some sort of call to action for violence against certain people?
Oh, you can't do that.
I don't think you can do that.
The charges filed against Dye carries a maximum term of 5 years in prison, a fine of up to $250,000, and a term of supervised release up to 3 years. He's expected to make his initial appearance tomorrow in federal court in Syracuse, New York, before a United States magistrate. I almost didn't want to show this story because it's so negative, but I just, in the context of just like what you see against people when you categorize them by their ethnicity, nationality, or skin color, it's just, it just takes the cake. And once again, it's a man. And it's 1,000 times worse than anything anyone would dare to say about black people in this country. No fucking way. No fucking way. The worst shit said about black people in this country is by other black people. It's called rap music. And it's just fucking nuts. We live with complete fucktards, which is okay. It's okay. I mean, you guys listen to a podcast where one of the guy's favorite activities is picking up poop. I mean, was he judging me for that? That I was soothed by excrement by keeping my yard clean?
He did get a good chuckle out of it, I think.
Oh, chuckle. Okay. Jan Clark, we're moving on to something fun next, yeah? Judy Reed, it's important to see. They will call him a white guy with slanted eyes. I encourage everyone, especially black people in this country, to find out what ethnicity you are. Stop calling yourself black. Same with Mexicans, just for shits and giggles. Find out if you're Kenyan. If you're Asian, just go with like I'm Korean. Stuff like try to even get away. Go find your shit. Go back as far as you can. Next time someone asks what you are, just be like I'm Kenyan, or I'm Ethiopian, or I'm Sudanese, or my people are like. See how far back you can go. Or don't. Like, fuck, who cares, too, on some level. All right. I'm going to play tennis. I'm pretty pumped. It's just me and Avi.
Sweet.
Yeah. We're going to play the best. If I can't. So the last 2 times we play 11 games to 11. And it's the best out of 11. Actually, only once we've made it to 11. Every time he's won. I start to fatigue. But the last couple of times, this last time he beat me 6-1. And at that point, I can't win, right? No. Yeah.
Yeah.
If it's best out of 11. I'm going to put a vest on him. On a fucking 9-year-old kid, I'm going to put a weight vest on him. 4-pound weight vest and try to beat him today.
You give him a handicap.
Jake Chapman, tennis is gay. You should see how I play it. I play it with one dick in each hand. As long as no one ejaculates, it's fine. David Weed, tennis is gay. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. You should see the fuck. No, but you know what? Now they have a sport called pickleball. So all of a sudden, tennis isn't gay.
Pickleball is.
Yeah. I saw on Instagram there was a chick who hits a shot like this behind her neck with her paddle, and people were like, oh my God, that's the most amazing shot ever. You know, people are like celebrating. I'm like, no, when you can do a shot like that in a sport, it's not a sport. You know what I mean?
If you can do trick shots in your sport, it's not really a sport.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Gary's doing good. I saw him in that Andrew Hiller video, and I just got pissed at him. I just thought that was such a douche move to fly. Like, if you're arm wrestling with someone and they've never arm wrestled before, and you fly out on their hand, you expose their hand, you're a fucking dick. That's a dick move for anyone who knows about arm wrestling. You don't arm wrestle someone for the first time who's never arm wrestled before and just fly out on their hand. It's like he could have fucking hurt Hiller's bicep. It's just that really pissed me off that Gary did that. And maybe it's just because I really like Hiller. Nah, I wouldn't have liked it if he did it to anyone. You don't do that. You don't need if you don't need to I was at the skate park yesterday with my kid, and this kid's like kept talking about all these moves he can do. And finally Avi got tired of it, and he's like, okay, show me some. And the dude's like, well, I can't do them now. And Avi's like, well, you keep saying you can do them. And I had to finally pull Avi aside. I'm like, hey, dude, you're the fucking best kid here. You don't ever have to worry about don't worry about these other kids who are like talking. I can do this. I can do that. Like, he's like, well, he said it to me 20 times that every move I do, he says I can do that. So it's like, show me. Like, I know, I hear you. Everyone, Jan Clark, do you think he was intimidated by Hiller? I don't know. That's an interesting question. I just didn't like it that is it gay if I arm wrestle other dudes' hogs? Sevi, do you always intervene for your kid? Do I always intervene for your kid? No, I don't always intervene for my kid. I resent the question. All right, guys. I'll see you later. Caleb, thank you. Do we have any more shows today? What's today?
I don't think so.
Today's Wednesday?
Wednesday.
Okay. Tomorrow, Pat Vellner. Oh, that's awesome. Winner of the he won, right?
He did.
Bad dude. And then Friday, Jason Hopper.
Nice.
It's just a question, says Heidi. Heidi, I noticed you were a bit wily today. Is your period coming?
It's just a question.
Thank you.